At my graduation party, parents hissed, "You're just a leech," and slipped poison in my drink. I'm Lily Thompson, 23, standing in the middle of a courtroom, watching my parents being led away in handcuffs. I felt a mix of relief and disbelief. How did things end up like this? It all started with my college graduation party. I grew up in a wealthy family in Los Angeles. My father, Richard Thompson, was a high-profile real estate developer, always chasing the next big deal. My mother, Victoria, was a socialite who spent her days attending galas and networking. On the surface, we were the picture of a perfect upper-class family living in a luxurious mansion in Beverly Hills. But behind closed doors, it was a different story. My parents were extremely controlling. They had a clear vision of what my life should be. Every achievement of mine was judged based on how it would enhance their social status. In school, getting an A was never enough. It had to be the top of the class. When I won a regional art competition, they were more concerned about how it could be used to impress their friends than my personal passion for art. When it came to college, I had my heart set on the Rhode Island School of Design, RISD, a place where I could truly explore my creativity. But my parents dismissed it immediately. They wanted me to go to an Ivy League school, preferably Harvard, even though I had no interest in the courses they offered. I was lucky enough to receive a full scholarship to RISD. Instead of being proud, my parents were furious. They saw it as a rejection of their carefully laid out plans. "We've worked so hard to build connections for you at the best schools," my father roared. "This is a waste of all our efforts." I tried to explain that the scholarship was a huge achievement, but they wouldn't listen. During this difficult time, my friend Mia became my rock. She came from a warm, down-to-earth family. Her parents supported her every dream, no matter how unconventional. Whenever I had an argument with my parents, I would go to Mia's place. She would say, "Your parents just have different values, but you have to follow your heart." Despite my parents' objections, I accepted the RISD scholarship. They reluctantly agreed to cover some of the additional expenses, but made it clear that they expected me to make something of myself that would bring glory to the family. College was my escape. For the first time, I was away from their constant scrutiny. I could choose my own classes, make friends based on shared interests, and truly focus on my art. I thrived at RISD, maintaining a high GPA and getting involved in various art projects. During my junior year, I got an internship at a well-known art gallery in New York. It was an unpaid internship, but the experience was invaluable. When I called home to share the news, my mother's first question was, "How does this unpaid internship benefit the family?" I was disappointed, but not surprised. I also met Jake during my time at RSD. He was a talented musician from a working-class family in Ohio. His parents were factory workers who had sacrificed a lot to send him to college. Jake was on a combination of scholarships and part-time jobs to make ends meet. When I introduced Jake to my parents over a video call, their disapproval was obvious. My mother ended the call abruptly, and my father sent me an email later, reminding me of the family's standards. As my senior year approached, I landed a great job offer at a prestigious art studio in Los Angeles. I also got accepted into several graduate programs, but I decided to gain some work experience first. When I told my parents about my job offer, their response was lukewarm. "Los Angeles is an expensive city. That salary won't get you far," my father commented. I wanted to celebrate my graduation with a small party, inviting my close friends from college, Jake, and some of my old high school friends. But my parents took over the planning. They changed the date to suit my father's business associates, moved the venue to a fancy country club, and took control of the guest list. They invited all their wealthy friends and business partners and only allocated a few spots for my friends. They also chose the menu without asking me, going for expensive and elaborate dishes that I didn't even like. They hired a live band instead of letting me create a playlist of my favorite music. And they picked out a formal, conservative dress for me, which was nothing like my usual style. I complained to Mia about it. "It's not my party anymore. It's like they're using my graduation as a platform for their social networking," I said. Mia suggested that I take back control, but it was never that easy with my parents. Every time I tried to assert my independence, they would use emotional manipulation or financial threats. 2 days before graduation, I overheard my parents talking on the phone. We've spent so much on her education, and what does she bring back? A job she could have gotten without all our connections. And that boyfriend of hers, he has no future, my father said. We need to steer her back on the right path. If she thinks we'll accept him into the family, she's dreaming, my mother replied. I was heartbroken. After all these years, I had still hoped they would be proud of me. The night before graduation, Jake found me crying in our favorite park. I showed him the notes I had taken of the conversation. I don't want to go home. I don't want to pretend everything is okay, I said. Jake held me tight and said, "You've spent your whole life trying to please them. Maybe it's time to stop." On the day of the party, the venue was decorated extravagantly. The food was exquisite, and the guests were all dressed in their finest. But I felt like an outsider in my own celebration. My parents introduced me as our daughter, the artist, as if my achievements were just an extension of their status. When it was my turn to give a speech, I decided to speak from the heart. I thanked my friends, Jake, and my professors who had supported me throughout college. I mentioned how RASD had been the right choice for me, even though it wasn't what my parents wanted. I could see my parents' faces stiffen as I spoke. After the speech, my parents called me into a private room. That speech was inappropriate, my mother said coldly. After all we've done for you, you embarrassed us in front of our friends. My father stepped closer and said, "You've been a burden on our resources. Everything we've given you was an investment, and we expect returns." Then, my father handed me a glass of champagne. "A toast to your future," he said. But as I took the glass, I noticed something off. The color was a bit too dark, and there was a strange smell. Years of studying art and being observant had made me notice these details. I pretended to take a sip, but I actually just held the liquid in my mouth. I excused myself and went to the restroom. I spat out the liquid and rinsed my mouth thoroughly. I texted Jake immediately. "Emergency. My parents gave me a suspicious drink. It might be poisoned. Meet me upstairs in 5 minutes." Jake and I decided that we needed more evidence before going to the police. I used my art supplies to document the drink, take photos, and record my findings. I also took some samples of the drink. We went back to the party, pretending nothing had happened. I could feel my parents' eyes on me, but I kept my cool. After the party, I knew I couldn't stay at home. Jake booked a hotel room for me. We decided to search my parents' house for more evidence while they were out for a business meeting the next day. In my father's office, I found some financial documents that showed they were in deep debt. They're real. Estate projects had failed, and they were desperate for money. I also found a life insurance policy on me, which had been increased significantly a few months ago. The beneficiaries were, of course, my parents. It all made sense. They were trying to kill me for the insurance money to solve their financial problems. Just as I was about to leave, my Uncle Henry showed up. He had always been the kind one in the family. When I told him what had happened and showed him the evidence, he was shocked but believed me. With the help of Jake's professor, who is an expert in forensic science, we got an official analysis of the drink, which confirmed the presence of a lethal poison. We also had the financial documents and the insurance policy as evidence. We confronted my parents at home. They tried to deny everything at first, but with the overwhelming evidence, they finally broke down. My mother shouted, "You were supposed to be our ticket to a better life. But you ruined everything with your stupid choices." My father just stood there, his face pale. The police were called, and my parents were arrested for attempted murder. It was a nightmare come true, but also a new beginning for me. 6 months have passed since then. I'm still in therapy, trying to heal from the complex trauma. Jake has been by my side, helping me settle into a new apartment near my job. Mia visits me often, and Uncle Henry has become a constant source of support. I've learned that sometimes the family we choose is more important than the one we're born into. And no matter how dark the situation may seem, there's always a way to find the light.